Um, start to get away from us. I'm not sure if you feel that. I mean, obviously, probably not long after half time, we started to rest a few bodies. But at this stage, I guess we're a team that's looking to make improvements, and we actually invited the challenge of coming in here. I was really excited about coming here. Be careful what you wish for, mind you, but I was really excited about coming in here because it's the toughest environment there is, and for the loss last week to Cairns, we knew what we were in for. I knew what we were going to get today, and I wanted to see how we could withstand it. So I guess during the course of the game, when we fell behind, I was still looking for us to make incremental improvements as to how we withstood the pressure that was put on us. So the question, if you ask, when did I realise that we're in trouble, or whatever it was, however you stated it, wasn't really what my focus was. It was more of where am I going to find the resilience in our group? Who's going to step up for us? Who's going to be the vocal leader out there on the floor? So I guess my focus probably wasn't on the score as much as it was where we're at as a team.
So what valuable lessons do you get from a performance like that then?
I think for us as a group, the valuable lesson is, well, I don't think we're not ahead of ourselves. There might be people out there 3-0, look out, here comes the Phoenix. I think we've been pretty honest with each other about where we need to make improvements. Right now we're a poor defensive team, and we own it. It's an area we work a lot on. It's an area that was probably my primary concern before we even signed a player, that when you're an expansion team, that I figured the players that we had naturally high IQ players at the offensive end and would be okay. But building that chemistry and trust at the defensive end, I think, was always going to be something when you cobble a team together of 13 individuals, many of whom have never played together before. That's going to be something that's going to be a work in progress throughout the course of the year for us. Luckily for us, we've probably been shooting the ball well enough to this point that it's hidden a little bit or masked a little bit of our deficiencies. But we're working hard at it, and I think we'll continue to make improvements on that.
Well, we as the media and we celebrate the scoring. Is this the reality? Is a loss what you need to get everyone's minds on the defensive side of things?
No, I don't need a loss. These guys don't need a loss. We've been very conscious of where we're at. We can read through the numbers and continue to win and still know that we need a lot of work at that end. But tonight our offense failed us, our aggressiveness. I mean, all the credit to Trevor and the Wildcats. And, from the first play, we looked tentative. I don't think it was the 13,000 Red Army. I think it was the pressure that the players out there put on us. And then we kind of went a little insular. Our guys weren't vocal as they normally would be. One of the things when you lose players, and by no means are we making excuses here, but one of the things we miss with Ty Wesley is a little help for Mitch. It's a big ask to put all the responsibility of leadership on Mitch. And he's got some guys who are out there and yappy as well, but I thought tonight some of the guys went a little insular. They were worried about how they performed instead of how we performed. They were worried about the pressure that was applied to them instead of how we're going to apply it back. So, there's a lot of, when you talk about lessons, I think that's a big one. That, use an example, Kendall Stevens had a really poor night, but he can't let his defense be predicated by a poor offensive night. I don't think any of our guys had a great night at all. Maybe Dan Triss came on, had a couple of good minutes.
Jay had a good one.
Yeah, Jay was good. He's just learning everyone's name, so it's hard for him to sort of take the mantle and run with it. But I think there's a lot of lessons in there for us, and I think the major one for us is that we can't worry about ourselves as individuals. We have to be adaptable out there on the floor.
Simon, you made a statement last week saying that you believed your team was not only just a good shooting team, but a good offensive team. The defensive pressure that Perth applied individually to guys like, 2-litre scorers in the competition. What do you say to the group? What do you say in particular, to Roberson in particular about, you had a chat to him and he came
It's Roberson, just I want to clear it up. No, I want to clear it up because I keep hearing Roberson.
You grabbed him just before he walked off, and what was the message that you kind of left him? It looked like you had a moment there together.
John's a really, really good player, and I think everyone's seen that. And one of the areas we want to bring him along, even as a 30-year-old point guard who's done amazing things all over Europe, is he continue to look to get better. And I think what I just said to him is, we need you to be a vocal leader when things aren't going right for you. How do you make others on your team better? Don't take all the pressure on yourself. So I thought tonight he was a little insular.
The bit of a surprise, the back end of the second quarter, 2:21 to go, the Wildcats came out, went zone, got 5 consecutive stops, and then ran it down the floor at you. Were you expecting to see much zone against a group that shoots the ball so well?
Yeah, no, we actually did. We worked quite a bit on our zone this week because we figured that we've been scoring pretty well, even when we didn't shoot well last week, and we thought, shit, what would I do if I was Trevor? I'd try and junk it up a little bit and throw a bit of zone. And I know that they've thrown a bit of zone here and there the last couple of weeks, so we anticipated it, but it sure as hell ruffled our feathers a little, didn't it? That last 90 seconds was a perfect game of basketball by Perth. We called a timeout to sort of say, hey, guys, we've got 90 seconds here to try and make a little dent in this, and they blew us off the floor. And that's what a championship team does. They got championship players all down the list, and they seize the moment, and that's where we've got to get ourselves to.
Mitch, how do you get the group to understand, with all the experience that you had at international level and here in the NBL, how do you get this young group, this new team, this new franchise to kind of take this, this loss tonight, put it behind you, and move on to what's going to be a really, really important game for you guys on Monday?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah. Look, honestly, we're not a young group. We have a lot of intelligent minds out there. I don't look at us as a team that's going to hang on to something and dwell on it for too long. One of the biggest things in our culture that we've tried to build is just a consistency of we don't want to you don't want to ride the wave too high or too low. You just want to stay consistent in that medium. And like Simon said before, our wins have not predicated anything to think, oh, we're this or we're that. We know we're a basketball club that's going to go out and play a great team every single week, no matter who it is. So we have to be ready for that challenge. Understandably, we played Perth. There's a reason why they've made the finals for the last 175 years. They play a very aggressive defensive style of basketball, which we haven't seen yet. And we tried to emulate that a little bit during the week of practice, and we threw in the zones and the pressure and your Cottons and your Damian Martin style of defense. But this is a good test for us. We talked about resilience and how do we react under the pressure when the house is burning down. Are we going to stand in there and go crazy, or are we going to stick together and see what happens? And we probably stood there and went a bit crazy tonight. But the great thing is we can look at it, review it, we get better, we get a good night's sleep, we get a tummy full of food, and we're going to plane back to Melbourne. We prepare Sunday for a great Adelaide team, a team I know well, a lot of the guys on our team know well. So, look, win or loss, we just take it on our chin, we take it in our stride, and we get better every single day. But at the moment, it's about being cool, calm, and collected for me. Same thing for Simon. We're not going in there yelling at people, pulling heads off. It's just about, hey, look, we're young, we're a brand new franchise, we're still figuring things out. We're going to be okay. The great thing is, it's a game of basketball. No one died today, so we'll be okay.
And Mitch, while tonight wasn't ideal, obviously you guys are still 3-1, and while you're saying you won't let the wins define you, it's still been a month. Do you feel like over that month you have seen tangible growth in the group, and while you're not getting perfection just yet, that you are stepping towards that?
Yeah, look, every day we evaluate ourselves to a very high. We keep ourselves to a very high standard. Our offense is obviously something that we have thrived on. We've got arguably some of the best shooters, in the league in one team. I don't know how many times I've looked on a sheet or a box score and seen guys like Gibson, Roberson, Madsen, Stevens. These guys go 1 for 0 for. It doesn't happen. We shoot in the mid-40s, I think, from 3, and we had some pretty good looks tonight. We missed them. We fluffed a few, and that's okay. But we've just got to try and get better now and watch the video when we can. But at the same time, we play in 48 hours, 36 hours, whatever it is. So we'll get better from this, and we'll come together even more than we have in the past. But I'm not too worried. 3-1 still pretty good, if you ask me.
Is it exciting to be playing Adelaide this weekend? I know when we spoke to America last year, coming to Melbourne was home thing, but that's where you spent so much time and built what was your NBA run and where you are now. It's exciting to be going up against those guys and that team again.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to play against your mates, I spent a lot of time with those guys. I spent, all 8 years with someone like Daniel Johnson, someone who just played his milestone game and obviously had a lot to do with Joey, and we've had a very, very close relationship, as well as their team managers and everyone they have that come on the road with them. So that's all good and fine, but at the end of the day, it's a basketball game. It's not a, cuddling session and catch up for coffee and biscuits. It's, we've got to go out and do our job and they've got to go and do theirs. So we have to prepare ourselves as best we can, watch some film, get our bodies ready. At the end of the day, it's a basketball game, like we said. I don't look at them any differently no matter who we play. So I'm excited for the challenge. Another game of basketball, another day to get better. And for us, that's what we need right now.
So, ignoring 110 scored against you, seeing the improvement in the defence at all? Are you seeing that coming through in the games? I know 110, it's hard to say, but like...
I got to ignore the 110 and then answer that?
110 makes a silly, stupid question when you see 110, but...
I wouldn't have said that was a silly question. I'd say it's a good question.
It's a difficult answer. You want to answer that? If I ignore that, do I see improvement?
Are you seeing improvement in the defence? 110 would suggest not, but...
Yeah, look, certainly not tonight. We gave up points off turnovers, which is, you come into this place, you can't turn the ball over. And then Perth did an amazing job of holding possession. You come into this place, you can't give up second shots. I don't know what you all do to the rims here. It's bouncy as shit, though. You got to take some of the spring out of those things. And they somehow keep bouncing towards them. But that was on us, We talked about that before the game. We talked about it shoot around. When we were shooting around, we're watching them bounce around. We're like, jeez, you got to make sure.
Theirs didn't bounce around.
Theirs were bouncing through the net. We were poor defensively tonight. I thought we were poor at stages defensively last week. I thought we executed a game plan at Brisbane. So going back on those, no, there hasn't been an improvement the last 2 weeks. There were some moments tonight where we were really bad. There were some moments tonight where we were like, okay, that's what we look to execute. But we were just thoroughly outplayed both ends of the floor tonight. And I thought, we dropped our bundle a little bit, and every facet of the game they dominated us in and just thoroughly deserved the win.
How far away is Ty?
He's a little ways away. It's going to be a while. I don't know the exact date. It's going to be, what are we at? What's it been? 5 weeks since he got hurt? 4 weeks since he got hurt? Probably another month at the earliest, and then we'll see where we go from there.
So Simon, knowing that the defensive end's got to be a big focus right now, the team seems to be predicated on the ability to be able to knock down shots, spread the floor, space and attack. Talk us through Benson's role and how that evolves. Is that where you see him playing 10, 11, 12 minutes a game, a guy coming in supporting Dane and potentially when Ty gets back? Do you need someone to anchor that defense off the bench? Is that his role?
I'd like to see anchors all over the floor. I don't think it needs to be Keith Benson. I think it can be anyone. Look, one of the things in this league is that matchups are an issue at times, especially when you're on the back foot. We probably had an opportunity to maybe give Keith a few more minutes against Dario tonight, and we didn't. I thought Dane was okay. For moments out there, we went in with a little bit of a different game plan. Mitch started out on Dario just to see if we could get a little bit of a longer body on Nick, but also just play as a little bit of a roamer defensively. He's got a really high IQ, and I think it didn't really work for us. Going back to Keith, I think what you're probably asking me is why is your import playing 10 minutes? Is that what you're asking?
No, I mean, that could be his role.
Yeah, we want more. I expect more. We've just got to find the ways to include him more. And that's on me, and that's on him also to perform and make it to a point where he's knocking the door down. I can't but worry about what the matchup is out there. That we've got to make it that the opposition has to worry about how the hell do we guard him. And we're just not at that point yet. Okay, we'll continue to work with him and hopefully get there pretty soon.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
Cheers.